but I think Nasser should have won that. But anyways, that's how it goes. We all know what happens.
There's no
Yeah, yeah.
politics in bodybuilding. There's no politics
Absolutely none. Zero.
Yeah.
involved.
Oh, zero. And again,
Just a matter of opinions. We get told it's just opinions,
Yeah,
even
that's
though
it.
there's a judging criteria. I thought I'd start off right to wear a shirt that this shirt just offends people without saying anything.
No, man, that's perfect. I love
I
it.
don't know why people get upset that I support the Smurfs, but they fucking do.
Hey, T-John, how's it going, buddy?
Good. How you guys all doing?
Good.
Good, John. How you doing, buddy? Hey, Lee.
Good.
How are you?
Good, thank you.
We're back at it again.
I'm sure you're Lee. I'm sure you're pretty used to
Part
having
two.
a lot of your videos are pretty ridiculous, but it was pretty cool to have so many people just losing their shit with the one that we did.
Were they?
Yeah, it was pretty
Did it
great.
offend anybody? Or something
I sure-
upset?
No,
Sure.
I didn't hear anything, but I didn't hear anything.
Nothing too bad.
No.
All right, so we got everybody here now. So Lee, we have all the same guys that we had last time, but this time now we have T-Jean LeBlanc, which is, I believe, should be
I
right
can
beside
tell
you now.
The one with the headphones on up in the corner there. You can't trick me. This is like one of those games, memory, isn't it? I know.
Yeah, it's like
That's
he's
right.
moving or-
Which one's different this time? You.
There'll be another two columns now next time.
T-John. Yeah. T-John's a pro too, Lee.
Uh-huh.
I competed
Me,
with.
retired.
Yeah, we're retired. We competed together in '94 in Night of Champions in New York.
Okay, that's only going back a few months.
That's 2 months ago. Yeah, 100 months ago.
Fantastic.
Lee, you're just waking up.
No, it's 9 o'clock. I've been up since 4 o'clock. I've been up for 5 hours. I've been up, cleaned the house, done laundry, been trained legs, come home, done cardio.
Oh my
Oh,
god!
fuck. What are you going to do the rest of the day?
Sometimes-
Holy fuck.
Sometimes I get up so early and I do that, and I'll be sitting there, I'm like, oh, I've done a lot, this and that. Then I'm like, fuck, it's only 10 a.m. I still got the whole day to go. What else can I do?
That's what I was thinking. What else can you do?
Oh, I just
Jeez.
go on Instagram and stir people up. There's one guy arguing. I did that video on Instagram yesterday about when I was leaving the grocery store, and they asked me, did I steal stuff? So I just did that funny video. This guy's like, you're a fucking pussy making a video like that, blah, blah, blah. He wrote this big thing. I said, wow. I said, how pathetic's your life that you got to come on here, you follow me, you write this big comment. I said, try really hard. Don't reply back to me. You're ridiculous. You can't fucking do fucking life. You had to reply.
You were testing
So
him.
I like spending my day doing that. I like stirring people up like that. Just spending my day doing that.
Yeah, they can't handle themselves, man. They can't help it.
I don't think they have a life, so
It's
I
an
guess
addiction.
they got to live through me. So I guess whatever I do gives them something to. And I mean, some of the comments I'll get, and they write a private message. It's like I'll read it, then I'm like scrolling, and then I scroll again. I'm thinking, this person actually thinks they're that fucking important. They've wrote a fucking essay, and they think I'm actually going to fucking read all this.
It's like- Oh, I don't know. Yeah.
Here's an idea for people that want to do that. I just tell them, just do a video, show your face, because they never do. Their account's always on private. You never see who they are, and
So, welcome to Bodybuilders Amateur Hour with Lee Priest and T-John. So, this is like part two with Lee. We're bringing on T-Jean LeBlanc, and just want to point out T-Jean here is coming on because he competed with Lee in New York What year was that? Do you remember?
94.
94. That's awesome. So those guys were competing together, and Tijan, let's see, became Mr. Canada in 87, or sorry,
No.
78, 79, 82, and 85. You were Mr. Canada. Did I miss anything else for your?
That's before half of these trolls that talk shit on here were even fucking born.
Yeah. This is before
Yeah.
social media. This is when bodybuilding was bodybuilding. This is when you're doing it
Right, and
because
that's
you
when
loved it.
and that was the good old days when you said something, you'd punch the cunt in the mouth.
Yeah.
Exactly. You can't do any of that now. Everywhere
You
you
could drag them outside the gym, and give them a good beating.
Right?
Oh yeah.
Just like you should beat the subscribe button with your mouse and your click,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. And hit that bell button, right, Jamie? And there we go, Lee. Thanks, guys. Sorry, I just had to get all that out there.
Quick, before it all starts.
Oh,
Hurry
I
up.
know. Hit it. They've already left. They've already
Fuck.
left. Yeah. So yeah, man. Let's just jump right into it. I'm super curious about the New York show. Tijan, if you guys, do you remember that? Do you remember that one?
It was
Lee?
a bodybuilding show, and it was in New York. Carry on.
Okay.
It was 90,
Done.
90 champions then back then, right?
Yeah, it was 92. I think Michael Francois won that year, but I think Nasser should have won that. But anyways, that's how it goes. We all know what happens.
There's no
Yeah.
politics in bodybuilding. There's no politics.
Absolutely none. Zero.
Yeah. Oh, 0. And again,
Just a matter of opinions. We get told it's just opinions.
Yeah,
even
that's
though
it.
there's a judging criteria, and to this day, I still don't know where. You know, when people say, "Oh, you got to have the back or the glutes and that, you got to have glutes to win." I've always said, "How about you need fucking calves to win?" Because I don't care if someone's massive and they've got the biggest back, the biggest chest, biggest arms. If you're missing a whole fucking body part, how do you win when there's a symmetry round where if you've got fucking standing on shins and the guy who comes second is complete with calves, why doesn't he win? If we're going by what the judges' guidelines are, which we know they never fucking follow them, because imagine if you turned up and you had no arms at all, just zero bicep. You
Right.
think you're going to win a show? Then how do people with zero carbs win fucking shows when they're missing a whole fucking muscle group?
man, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Dijon, was that your first pro show or?
Yeah. It was just my first and my second last.
He come and went really
Yeah.
quick. It's like
Well,
in and out.
it's like this. I knew that I might have been a good amateur, but I knew that at the pro level, I didn't really fit in. But I just wanted to do one show for myself. It was a dream that I've had when I was a kid. But I wasn't delusional like a lot of people are today. Some people go to pro shows today, and they place 16, and 16, there's like 12 behind them that's 16, but they'll tell people they were 16th, and they don't get it that they'll never win a pro show, but they just keep on trying. So in my opinion, I think a lot of times that a lot of pros, our pro level is watered down now, because you remember, Lee, in our day, to get a pro card, you had to win the world championships. And I think that's what we should go back
Well, it was
to.
like, wasn't it overall at the national? Was the nationals class winners? It was overall at the USA or something. There was I was just saying this the other day on a podcast that it's watered down too much. Half the pros you see on stage now are very lucky to be a good amateur. Half of them look like shit. And I know they train hard. I know they do whatever, but there comes a point when we used to have things here where I had the Lee Priest Classic, and the winner could get a pro card to compete in the pros in NABBA for the pro universe. But yet it's up to my discretion and the other people on the NABBA committee where, okay, this guy might win the overall at the Lee Priest Classic, but if he ain't good enough to represent Australia as a pro, he's not getting the pro card. So why would I give someone a pro card? He's going to go represent Australia when he really looks like shit. On the world stage as a professional, you'd be laughed at. So, I don't know why they give out all these pro cards. People say it's money, but yet they're still making the same money because they're going to get the amateur money. Plus, if they stay amateurs, they pay more for crossover divisions and shit like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, and back in the day, you'd know if somebody was a pro, they didn't need to tell you. You'd go into a gym and you'd know that guy's a pro. Now I have people saying I'm a pro this, pro that. I'm like, what? You're a pro gardener or golfer or what? You don't look like a bodybuilder. So it's like, I don't get why everyone's going for this pro card. And as you said, okay, it might be if that's your dream to get one and you've got it, good, and you might want to compete one, great. But I've seen guys waste years and just like kill themselves taking drugs because they think next year I'm going to do it. Next year, like 10 years goes by, they still haven't placed in the top 10 of a pro show. So you really got to be realistic with how far you can go and stuff like that. But sadly now, everybody just wants to get that pro card so they can jump on Instagram and go, oh, IFBB Pro League Priest, now I changed my status.
Yeah, I think like I like to compare it to like the NHL. In the NHL, you can get drafted. Doesn't mean you're going to make the NHL. So let's say you go to nationals and you win your division, then you just got drafted to go to the Worlds. And if you go to the Worlds and win that, then you get a pro card. And that's the way it should be, because that way it wouldn't be so watered down. Like I used to know every pro, where they lived, where they were from. I don't even know every pro that's in my province now. Right now, there's too many pros. And like Lee said, they go on stage at a pro show and they're not even looked at.
And then I can understand too the ones that get their pro card and never compete. I'm like, why get it? To me, I was saying this to Dave the other day. If you get a pro card and you haven't competed within 2 years, you got to requalify. Well, there should be a thing now, because
I think so too.
Look how many pro cards you've given out. But look at some of these pro shows. The one Hunter just won, 7 people in it. Like these pro shows are getting 6 pros. I'm thinking, you have all these professionals now. The pro shows are getting shitter quality. You might have one big name like LeBlanc and that, but then I'm not saying the other guys are shit, but we don't know who they are. The 212 class, I don't think I recognised hardly any American names. They're all from overseas. I'm thinking, there's so many 212s in America. Why wouldn't you do a show that's in your own country? So I think they should change it, that if you get a pro card, you should be made to compete at least 2 or 3 shows a year. Get some of the bigger names in the shows, help the promoters out, help them make money. If they're making more money, the prize money might go up. But these people go, oh, I've got a pro card now. I've got to wait 2 or 3 years to put more size on. It's like, what a load of bullshit. Get out and compete. That's how you learn. Do it. Then you get the ones that do 1 show a year. It's like, say you fuck up. If you do more shows back to back, because if you're in shape, it's easier to hold your conditioning, unless you're doing crazy shit with drugs and that. But if you hold your conditioning, if a show's a week apart, 2 weeks apart, you can test stuff out, higher carbs, lower carbs, water. But now these people do 1 show and then wait till next year, then it's going to be hit and miss. You got 1 chance to get it right, or they'll take another year off. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
I think if they don't place at a pro show in the first 2 or 3 years, then they should go back to being an amateur. It's like if you don't cut it in the NHL at camp, you're not going to make the team. You go back down to the minors. It's the same thing. That way you wouldn't have such a watered down sport. Like Lee just said, you go to pro shows now, and then, I mean, you might have 1 name or 2 names out of 15 guys that you recognize, and the other guys are like, who are they?
And I hate harping back to the 90s, because people go, oh, you're just an old whinging cunt, blah, blah, blah. Going back to the back in the 90s, 2000s, the Ironman lineup, the Arnold Classic lineup, most of the pro lineups were Olympia quality. The only guy that was missing was generally Mr. Olympia, but you would have Flex, Chris Cormier, NASA, and all them in the Ironman. Come the Arnold Classic would almost be the Olympia lineup minus Mr. Olympia. Like the depth was so big in those shows back then that like there were so many names that you knew. Now it's like you said, you might get 1 or 2 big names in a pro show, and the rest of the people, you don't even know who they are.
Like the New York Pro Show in '94, there was a lot of big names at that show. Like it was.
They used to get like the Night of Champions would sometimes get like 45 people in it, and they were like all the big names. And then it would go back to people you didn't know. You always had Jocelyn Potier up there with his watch on, the guy from overseas. He didn't look good, but he kept competing.
yeah, I remember him.
So why aren't the pros doing the big shows anymore? All the shows. What are they just holding out for the Olympia?
Some people say the money. I can understand, because 10,000 first place was back when I was competing. So, but then I'm saying the promoters can't get more money. The big names don't go in there because who's going to go see if you see a show that had Nick Walker's going to compete in it, Andrew Jack and all these, you'd go see the pro show. But if you look at the lineup and go, I can watch that at home. But also people say, well, Lee, it's a bit unhealthy. I'm like, really, is it? I said, let's take off-season. Off-season pros do what? Fuck all. Sit around, eat, bulk up, take drugs, do no cardio. So it's like, to me, that's more like when I was 285 doing no cardio, eating McDonald's every day, that sort of stuff. Now, take a pro who's competing. Okay, you're still taking gear, of course, but now you're doing cardio maybe once or twice a day. You're eating clean. You're pretty lean, so you're not carrying on an extra body weight, which is more unhealthy, doing the show or off season. At least, get ready for a show. You're more mobile. You're doing the cardio. You're eating good food. Off season, taking drugs, sitting around. You want to go for a walk? No, I might burn muscle. I got to stay home. I don't want to go out anywhere.
I think they're just getting lazy. Even at an amateur level, I used to think that too, man. But like back, that's what we were just all. That's what we thought in some ways.
I think too, a lot of them too now with the internet, like YouTube and Instagram. Hey, that's fine. If you want to be a Instagram and YouTube and make your money that way, that's fine. You don't need a pro card for that. Do that, but get out and compete. That's what your job is. Could you imagine somebody like LeBron plays one game? Okay, I'm done for the year. I'll see you if you make it to the finals. I'm not going to play more games. Or Ackerman or somebody. I'll come out and play one game this year. I did good. Okay, your team won. I'm not going to play again to the Super Bowl. What other sport, where every other sport they play seasons, they play so many games. Tennis players do so many tournaments around the world. Bodybuilders, I'll do one show. That's enough for me. Oh, fuck off, you lazy cunt.
Bodybuilding is definitely a different sport. That's for sure.
I have a feeling where I like the idea of like, say if we're talking about like Olympia level athletes, maybe like Mr. Olympia, if he wins, he would have, that's it. He can come back, but everybody else has to qualify.
Yeah, like, I've said that. Sometimes people say maybe the top three, but I say, okay, if we go top three, that's fine, but anyone else should have to qualify. And I think then too, a minimum of 2 pro shows a year you have to do, because so many guys are just sitting shows out now and not doing them. And this whole, I got to get better, I got to get bigger. The only way to get better is to learn by competing, knowing what diets work, whatever drug cycles you're going to do work and stuff like that. You can't just learn by doing one peak a year and hoping it's going to work on that day. So
it's like, totally agree.
So will that ever change, you think? Will it, or is it just a thing that we all complain about and talk about, or will that ever change?
I don't think it's going to change.
It'd be nice if it did change, because the athletes want more money, but to get more money, you got to, get the big names in there to get, draw the people in. So, but they don't want to compete. So I guess, like I said, now some of them, because they make money doing YouTube and Instagram, like I said, the prize money is not really an incentive, is it? To get $10,000
when you're getting like a table tennis, people winning $50,000 playing their game, they're just like, what?
That's true too, right? Like they need to bring more money if they want people to compete too. That's true.
Yeah, and that's what I said before. And I said it before, that the IFBB actually needs a person where that's their only job, to go out and get sponsors. But like I said, think outside the box. Go to car manufacturers, Chevy, Ford, muscle cars, anything like that. Because there's so many companies in America where if you get someone who's tenacious and just keeps knocking on doors, you're going to get a lot of no's, but you could get a lot of yeses. And I was watching it again today at the gym as I was doing legs, because they have that music station on. They had that Red Bull contest where people are in the little billy cart going down the hill, hitting the hay bales and bumping over stuff. And Red Bull sponsors that. Why can't you get Red Bull to sponsor bodybuilding? They sponsor every stupid fucking thing out there. So it's like...
Oh, yeah. And that just would bring it more mainstream, and we'd just be more in the public's eye and just, even be a little bit more socially accepted.
Yeah, but another thing I hate is too, I did a video ranting about this the other day for the AMA website, is the whole steroid thing. Look, you go on message boards, you go on things, this whole natty or not. I'm like, who gives a fuck? I said, worry about yourself. Who cares if Michael Hearn's done gear or not? Who cares if he says he's natural? How about you focus on yourself? And it's like, if I told you exactly what I've taken, which I have, if Dorian said this is exactly what I've used, if Ronnie Coleman said this is what I've used, who fucking cares what they're taking? It's not going to work the same on you. What your best friend uses ain't going to, you're not going to respond the same. But there's so much of this talk on drugs now that I think sadly a lot of these big companies are pulling away, because you go on any message board, Instagram, that's all they talk about is drugs, drugs, drugs. Look, we know pro footballers, we know soccer players, every other sport uses steroids, but you don't see them fucking
100%.
talking about it 24/7 like bodybuilders do. So these mainstream companies won't get involved because, look, we know it's in the sport. That's it. Talking about it, knowing what someone's dosages are, aren't going to make you a better bodybuilder. How about you just shut the fuck up and train and get your head into the game and not worry about it? Because can you imagine if pro footballers talked about it all the time? Oh, he only got that because he's on fucking 6 mil a deca and he recovered so quick so he could come back. And
it's like you'd never hear that. That doesn't even make But also, I think
Lee, would you ever start your own pro? Would you ever start your own pro division?
Actually, my friend was just talking to me about that. I was just talking to a friend of mine on the phone, and we are just talking about Dillette, and he was saying how, Dillette did good doing his thing, and I should do my own thing like that. But I don't know. I'm going to Italy in November to having a Lee Priest. Naba's having a Lee Priest show over in Venice, Italy at the end of November. So I don't know if I'd start my own because there's a lot of headaches involved with all that type of stuff. So I was like,
Yeah.
So having a Lee Priest show, what does that involve? Like, how are you involved in that besides having your name attached to it?
That's about it. Have my name attached. I'll turn up.
Yeah.
That's
get
it.
some residuals from it. I don't know.
Yeah. No, like when I used to have my own show in Australia and Texas, I made sure the athletes come first. I made sure there was tons of food backstage. The one in Texas, every winner of their class got a leather jacket with the Lee Priest Classic embroidered on the jacket and stuff. So always, of course, being the competitor, I've been to plenty of shows where the competitor is the last thing they think about, where you wouldn't even have a bottle of water backstage. So, and that's the thing. It's about the athletes. If the athletes have a good time, you treat them well, they're going to want to come back and do your show again, because without the athletes, you don't have a show. But sadly, a lot of promoters in the IFBB forget about that without the athletes, they're nothing. That's why I tell the athletes, you have all the power. If you don't like anything that's happening, if you all stood together, what can the NPC, IFBB, NABA, anyone, what can they do without you? Without the athlete, they don't have shows. They need you more than you need them. So, but yet they don't. The athlete doesn't click in their brain that, wait a minute, without us. But yet they just bend over, take it up the arse, get screwed, and complain about it. It's like, stop complaining, take a stand. So, but they don't.
I'm not saying this to be like a kiss ass, but Tijon and his wife.
I just started saying
what's
that?
that?
Josh, go ahead.
You're going to say this?
I just started. Yeah. The Gladiators. Yeah.
And his wife, they are promoters here on the East Coast, and I've done a lot of their shows, and I do have to say they do a really good job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
and the athletes notice that
they
too.
have better promotions than. Oh, sorry, Jamie. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say about Tijon creating the Gladiator Showdown, just because bodybuilding was kind of dying around here around 10 years ago or so. About 2016, I think our first one was, where it's just an invite only, and Tijon was just thinking of how to build up the bodybuilding around the Maritimes here again, and that Gladiator Showdown was an invite. So there was 16 or 18, the best
That's
around.
that's what brought me back on stage, actually. That first Gladiator show. But they put on the best shows, like better than pro shows. Tijon.
Oh, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they are
better than pro shows I've been at, and national shows. So.
And that's
really
the thing. Like athletes notice that. It could be the smallest. Like, when you're dieting, like sometimes you could be, we don't have a bottle of water, and people say, "What are you complaining about a bottle of water?" I said, because when you're that stressed out, your body fat's low, you're tired. Little things are big things, and if you go to a contest and all those little things are taken care of and you're more at ease, athletes appreciate all that. But some of them, like I said, the athletes are the afterthought. They're more worried about getting people in, selling tickets, doing this. It's the lighting here, right? They've got the sponsors up and that. Where the athletes are like, okay, guys, get on stage. Guys, you got half an hour. Oh, now you got an hour. It's like you're just treated like cattle and shit backstage at some shows, and athletes don't like that. But yet,
still keep coming.
Yeah, they still keep coming because, sometimes there's no other choice.
Well, right.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Yeah. Awesome. We got a bunch of questions. We could jump into some questions here from like some of the viewers too.
Tijan, when you used to get ready for your contest, how many weeks did you diet? And did you have any cheat meals, or was it straight through clean food the whole way?
No, never had a cheat meal. What do they call that now? A refeed or something?
Yeah.
Never had that.
Cheat meal.
I probably stayed within my contest shape. Like I was only like 10, 12 pounds off, so I could get in shape in 6
Similar
weeks.
to me.
Yeah.
Same as him. Same as Lee.
Yeah.
I could get in shape in 6 weeks.
Yeah. Wow. And you stayed like that for that simple reason, did you? Or you just like to be in shape all the time?
I just like to be in shape, and after winning nationals, I was asked to guest pose like probably 2-3 times a year, and where I wasn't a big guy, the only way that I would impress the crowd would be if I would be ripped and cut.
Yeah.
So that's what I had to offer the crowd, because I just didn't have the size.
So you played on your strengths.
But still.
So that's what I used to to earn my keep as a guest poser, was to come in and be ripped. So I guest posed in Florida. I was in shape, like I could have competed, but that was because I was small compared to other guest posers. At the time, Tim Belknap was there, and he was huge. You remember Tim?
Yeah.
Haley, you remember?
I remember Tim.
So that's why I stayed in shape. I like 6 weeks would have been okay for me.
Everybody else is on Google now going, Tim Belknap, who the fuck?
It's like,
he was a diabetic. Oh,
I get my phone over here.
Yeah.
So what was your weight, Lee? Sorry, Josh. What was your weights usually roughly around contest?
My weight, I fluctuate anywhere from 206 to 218.
And you, Jean?
My biggest, I had to be a lightweight at the nationals, so I was under 154. But when I remember standing next to Jim Quinn on stage at the New York Pro, and we were talking. He was 263 and I was 163. That's when I knew I didn't belong there.
That's the thing, though. You belong, because it's like that's what I try and tell people when they get it. Like when you look at Sean Clarita now, I said, weight's just a number. It's an illusion. If you've got the muscle in the right places, it's like, I always used to laugh because Chris got upset when I won the San Francisco, and backstage I said to Chris, what did you weigh? He's like 260. I went, oh, fucking hell. You got beat by a guy weighing 199 pounds. He's like, fuck you. But everybody thought.
I don't think Ronnie liked that either, Lee.
Everybody thought I said, because people ask me, what did you weigh on stage? I'm like, what do you think I weighed? They're like, 230, 235. I'm like, I was 199. They're like, fuck, really? So,
yeah, you can't tell.
If you've got the round muscles, you come in condition.
Yeah.
Even Flex said his best look was when he was 218 because his joints looked smaller, his muscles were bigger. And then a lot of people tried to play that size game with Ronnie. Yes, they still look good, but they're better at a lighter body weight, because when your joints are so small, and the definition comes in tight around your delts and your arms, you get under the lighting, the illusion is you look so much bigger. You come in a little bigger, you got the illusion you're a bit puffier and softer and stuff like that. So I'd always try and come in leaner, because I knew on stage you got the illusion of looking much bigger than you are.
So
I agree. Weight doesn't matter at all. Like Sean won at 178, won Olympia.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, it really doesn't matter. Sean's a great guy, for sure.
When you look back to Labrado, he was only like 186, 189, and coming second to Haney. Now he didn't look out of place standing with those big guys. So
that means I have a chance. Oh, that's awesome. That means I have a chance. Oh, that's really good. I'm totally kidding.
Totally kidding.
Did you ever guest pose in the off season?
I did in Australia once, but I hated guest posing. I just like staying home, because if I wasn't competing, like Ed Connors used to get so mad at me because Jay was always busy, and He's like, Lee, you could be as busy as Jay. And like I said, look, I had good contract money and other stuff. So I was never money orientated. I've never been that like business minded. I just like, as long as I've got money to pay my bills, I've got food on the table. I'm not like super broke. I'm happy. I'm content, you know. Yes, having money would be great, but yet sometimes to get more money, you got to go out of your, I wouldn't say comfort zone, but I could have went guest posing every weekend, but I hated traveling. To me, that wasn't fun. It stressed me out going to the airport. I'd rather go watch a car race somewhere or sit at home. So promoters would call up. They go, Lee, are you busy September? And then I go, let me check my calendar. I'd go, yeah, looks like I'm busy that weekend. Okay, and I'd sit home and watch the Daytona 500 or something because I just didn't want to go traveling and stuff. Like the big expos I'd go to, but guest posings now I just didn't like doing them. I'd just rather stay home and be happy rather than, because I said I got a lot of friends that make lots of money, but yet they're so obsessed by the money. They might have a beautiful home, sports cars, boats. They never get time to enjoy it because they just work, stressed out all the time. I'm like, you know, when's enough enough? You know, just be happy with what you got. As long as everything's taken care of, enjoy life. Don't work yourself to the bone where you're super stressed out all the time.
Did you ever have a regular ass job or what?
When I was younger, I used to service fire equipment and then clean factories from like 10 at night to 3 in the morning and stuff like that. But then when I went to America at 20 and got contracts there, I didn't have a regular job from then on. Just did the bodybuilding. No, because even when I was in Australia,
no customer service for you, thank God.
Could you imagine?
No.
I have to bite my lip when sometimes I go to pick my wife up from the tobacco store and I'll just get there early and I stand there because they sell the lotto as well, and just listening to some of the complaints of the customers, I stand behind them like,
You're just like, oh. Yeah.
Like
so
people, it's like I think just people complain about anything, and some of the stupidest shit they complain about, I'm like, really? I'm like, you know, this is the thing people don't get. If I complain about something online, it's either just to stir people up or just to be stupid and just have a go at something where I couldn't give a fuck either way about what I'm complaining about. I'm just doing it because people go, oh, I can't believe you said that and complained about that, Lee. I'm like, yeah, but I got you going, didn't it, dickhead? So it's like I just ramble on about anything.
Yeah, it's like you won.
Sorry, boys.
John, I got a question for you, T. John.
Yeah.
How long does it take for you to prepare for a show coming up? For the promotion of it.
As a promoter?
How long? Yeah, as a promoter, how long does it take you to prepare for that show?
Probably 3 months.
Really? Flat out for 3 months?
Well, I wouldn't say flat out, but we start and then flat out for the last probably 6 to 8 weeks.
Right on.
But that's why we put a lot of money into our shows. Like Lee was saying, a lot of promoters don't give a shit about the athletes, and it's all about pocketing money. But we invest a lot in our shows, so it takes time when you invest a lot of money because our production costs are high. As you can see, our shows, like, it's not just a couple of lights on stage and a Mickey Mouse MC. Like, we go all out. So that's why it takes a lot of organization.
Oh man, I've been on stage when there's a host lights. That's all they have. It's just like a little stage with host lights, and it's just absolutely horrible.
I've been standing back and behind the screen, and I mean, I know Devin and probably Josh both have been there, Andy too, where it's just the floor is just bouncing before we come out. It's unreal. It's just it's the whole floor is just bouncing with music. It's a great production.
It is.
Not to kiss your ass.
No, it's always a great production, really.
It is.
It's always just, top notch.
Devin, you got a cub bear in your hands. What the fuck?
I got a little bear,
I see it. Yes. What is it?
He's actually 15 years old.
Oh, go away.
Does he? Almost looks like a young still.
So that kind of reminds me of Lee.
He always looks like a baby.
Where do you get your passion for your animal rescue and your charity work?
I don't know. I've always loved animals. Like even when I was younger, I'd always go to the animal RSPCAs and just play with the animals there and volunteer there when I was younger and stuff. And in America, when I was living in Lancaster with Kathy, we had a lot of land, so I'd like foster animals. We had like probably 15 dogs at one point and a couple of rabbits and 8 cats and stuff like that. So I don't know. I've always just like animals. I just think, animals are just fun. They bring you joy. And you can be having the worst day ever. You come home. Like the other night, I was sick in bed. I lost 5 kilos overnight just from throwing up. Because I think
Holy
the day
smokes.
before, I think did I eat something? But then I remembered the day before, I was in the laundry for a long time cleaning it with bleach and that. And the bleach was making me feel sick, smelling the bleach. I think that did it to me. I got maybe some sort of poisoning from sniffing
Holy-
bleach while I'm so. But then I was laying in bed and my big staffy, she come to lay beside me, and just feeling her beside me with my arm over her just made me feel a lot better. Until that point, generally when you're laying by yourself, you're in your own head, you're thinking, I
Oh.
feel sick, this and that. I'm going to fucking die.
I'm going to die. Yeah, I poisoned myself.
And then when the dog left, my cat come over and curled up there and started purring. And just hearing that purring sort of, relaxed you. So I think animals, I know there's a lot of places now, elderly homes, and I know places that have like special kids that have problems and that are doing more stuff with animals, like helping them, companion animals or stuff like that. Because I think animals do have this sort of soothing effect on people. And I've always been that way. Like I can see someone get murdered on TV or something happen to whether it's kids or dots. I'm like, fucking idiot, probably deserved it. But as soon as I see someone cruel to animals, I'm like, that cunt needs to die. You don't hurt animals.
You're
Humans, I'm
like
like,
John Wick on their ass, right? You just
exactly.
Yeah.
we had one of our last shows here that Tijan and Heather put on. There was a lady with a service dog on stage doing posing,
Mhm.
and she had
Okay.
a service dog, like really, like not as very visible, I guess, on stage. It was really cool to see.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Could
she-
have done the dog. Put the dog in the routine, like make it turn into super dog or something. Put a cape on
Yeah,
it.
that would be great.
The dog could pose a lot better than a lot of competitors, actually.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
I'm glad that you said that.
The dog was probably left less mess than the competitors backstage too.
Yeah.
This is what I don't get. If you're a competitor, I always wonder, whenever I had to go to a toilet, generally you wouldn't, but if you did, put toilet paper on the seat or something. I go to some of these toilets at contests, there's tan on the wall, the doors, the toilet seats covered in tan, the fucking floor. I'm like, are you people just fucking pigs? You don't give a shit about fucking anything? It's like, God, at least try and take care and keep things a little bit tidy. It's like they just don't give a crap. It's just like shit's everywhere. Then they get oil everywhere. Then it's just like,
Oh, yeah.
even when they're pissing in the toilet, I'm like, if you're going to piss in the toilet, it's that fucking round. How do you miss it? Why is there piss on the floor, on the seat, on the fucking... It's like, Jesus.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have that problem at a lot of our shows. Like, in the cost of a show, I mean, there's the janitorial services. It's included, but we always have to pay an extra $200 to $400 because it's beyond
Oh, yeah.
the mess that it should be. And there's like, I don't know how they manage to put tanning on the walls or on the floors, but they
That's
do.
crazy. What I did at my show was I got big, huge, like industrial rolls of plastic, and we get there early in the morning, and backstage in the hallways everywhere, we get tape, and I lined the walls with fucking plastic. So if they bump on a wall, they hit the plastic. Because sometimes I've seen competitors, if there's a curtain, you see them wiping their hands on the curtain, the oil.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck you
Like,
doing?
what the hell is that?
Yeah, they just don't give a fuck. That's
No.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
All right. So jump into another
DJ, I
question
got a
here.
Okay, go ahead, Josh.
All right. Just curious of what you guys all think about bodybuilders nowadays compared to the later, like the 80s, 90s, where people are seeming to be like dropping like flies now. As in the way of like, they all seem to be passing away with heart conditions, strokes, like bad blood work. Who knows? They're all just kind of like, or do you think that people were dying a lot in bodybuilding in the past, but we just didn't really hear about it as much? Or do you think it's like
media?
because of social media? Or do you think the drugs are so crazy, as people say, that which gets blamed for?
I don't know if it's the drugs, because you look at a lot of guys from back in the old days, even the 80s, they're still around. But, back then they used Dianabol, Deca, Test, the basic stuff. Now, people are coming out of all these new age shit, whether it be SARMs. I take SARMs because it's safer than steroids. Is it really? How long has it been
No,
tested
I
for?
don't
How
think
do you
so.
know all this shit? And I think, too, as the years go on, I've seen an increase in young kids taking pre-workouts, energy drinks on top of the pre-workouts and all this stuff. And then maybe because I know friends, I've never had it, but, certain people take certain steroids and they've got to go get blood taken out because of the iron thickens their blood or whatever they have happened to them. So if you're one of these people where maybe, okay, using steroids causes your blood to thicken, and then let's just say you had that C shot when the virus was
Right.
around,
Yep.
if that causes clotting, who knows what contributed to it? It doesn't affect everyone the same, but who knows? There could be certain people where that does cause blood clots. But even with social media, over the last few years, even bodybuilding, but when you look at soccer in Europe, like a year ago, 20 soccer players in their 20s dropped dead. So ever since that shot come out, around the world, you've seen a lot more younger athletes dropping. So whether it's a coincidence or not, it's hard to say. But you never heard of young kids look at even
I
LeBron's
definitely.
son drops. And there's so many things out there where you'd never hear of young kids dropping, playing football or soccer and stuff. Swimmers even. It's like you never heard that many at that young age.
No, I think some of it has to do with COVID, maybe the COVID shots. And
All right,
Definitely.
lifestyle, too. Lifestyle. Definitely lifestyle.
The show was demonetized earlier, so go ahead, say the word.
Yeah. I definitely think it's some of the COVID shots. Definitely.
Well, I'm happy. I'm happy to be on your last show today.
Again.
On your last
We thought the last one was the last one, Lee. Don't worry about that. We're good.
We'll see.
When I was competing,
you
I
said
would
the
get
C
blood work
word
done
with
twice a year at least, and my blood work was always great. And since I retired, I mean, I've been all over. I've been an addict. I've been a drug addict, alcoholic, and my blood work's been in the shitter since then, right? So when I was bodybuilding and taking steroids, my blood work was always perfect, or I would have stopped, or I would have pulled it back, right? But I mean, I would get blood work done 2 to 4 times a year.
I always get my blood work done twice a year, and I think too, like most bodybuilders, yes, I know there's a lot of young kids out there who abuse it because they think the pros are taking more, but generally I try to think that bodybuilders are sensible, and if you are training and you're eating clean and you're doing cardio, if you're just using a little bit of steroids, I don't see there should be a major problem. But I think if it's like anything, you go extreme on anything, you go too far, anything, it's like you're going to have problems. Too much of any. What's the old saying? Like too much of a good thing is like can be. So I think it's like anything in moderation's okay type thing. But these people think more is better, and keep going. So
exactly. I totally agree with that. Totally agree.
Yeah, I do too.
Well, I've had friends when it came to, like I said, we used to talk about drugs. I've had the times where, okay, you do 1 gram of coke, I feel good. Yeah, to 2 grams, 3 grams. I'm like, I'm feeling sick now. Oh, but it feels good. I keep going. Next thing you're throwing up, but you keep going. I've had friends do MDMA like that. Next thing they're throwing up. It's like, then you get to the point where, like, even people get alcohol poisoning and die because they get drunk and they just keep drinking. Then, it's like I said, you got to know when to stop on anything really in life, whether it's gambling, drugs, anything. So,
yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You have to. Everyone has a different tolerance too, and everyone reacts differently. So.
Yeah, genetics come into play too, right?
Yeah, definitely. Because I always tell people too, like, I always use small amounts. So even though I say, look, I took 400 milligrams a test, to me, okay, that sounds safer than 1,200. But yet, who knows? With someone's genetic makeup, 400 could be too much. So, but it's like you were saying, I would always get my blood work done at least twice a year. When I'm bulked up, after a contest thing, after stuff like that, I'd always go get a stress test or heart check done every year. Like, because I have friends that, like, they take so much gear, they do this and do that. I said, have you ever had a check or blood? No, I don't want to know. I'm like, well, why wouldn't you want to know? I'd rather know ahead of time to catch the problem than you go finally get it done. They say, well, if you had to come 2 years ago, we might have been able to help you. So it's always best to know. It's just like, nothing. It doesn't take long to get into these tests done either. So just go get them done just to be safe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Half the time they're scared. They're scared to know because they don't want to stop.
Exactly.
Yeah. T-John, are you able to comment on that?
It's so easy to get now too, right? Like you pretty much go to sellmesteroids.com and you'll have it on your door just like Amazon the next day. So, 15 years ago you had to really know people and that sort of thing. Now it's just like rampant.
Like
and I think too, because there's so many people so-called making it or wherever now. It's like even who knows the quality these days. Yes, it might say testosterone. It could just be cooking oil mixed with something else. Who knows what you're getting? The quality could be shit. It could be tainted. Who knows these days? Because people are just out to make a buck half the time, and they don't give a fuck about your health or anything else. You just look at even when it comes to the other side of drugs now, where with America and fentanyl and stuff, people think they're getting cocaine and dropping dead because these fuckers don't give a shit about your life. They just want to make money. So they'll try and make it the cheapest way possible, putting shit stuff in it. And if you die, oh, well, people just like another drug addict died. Who gives a shit? But, these people have problems. They're not taking drugs to kill themselves. They could be taking drugs to get over some problem or shit they're going through. And when you become addicted, it's hard to get off shit. The only addiction I've had was when my neck operation and my doctor gave me so much Oxycontin and crap like that. I'm just taking it and I figured that my pain's not there anymore. I think, okay, I don't need it. And I just stopped it. Whoa, didn't my body let me know that you're not just stopping taking Oxycontin like that? I was like, fuck.
I've been there before.
Yeah. I put myself in the detox for a couple of weeks and just got off it that way. So.
Oh, good for you. Was that a hard choice?
No, as soon as I knew, because I was getting to the point I didn't want to leave the house. I didn't want to go to the gym. It'd be a nice day outside. I'm like, I should go outside. No, fuck it. I'll just turn the lights on, sit inside. How much food do I have? I can go another day without going to the grocery store. I was almost just like a zombie, like you're just numb. You're just like, So I'm thinking, I can't go on like this. So I thought, fuck it, I got to do something. I called up this place called the Woodlands at a private hospital and just spoke about, with the Oxycontin and then how I was. They said, well, we've got a room right now if you want to come down right now. So I went down that very day, checked myself in and stayed there for a couple of weeks till I was all off it, then never touched them since.
Oh, amazing. T-John, you were going to say something?
The thing is, because you take an Oxycontin from the doctor's giving it to me. He's like, how's that working? I'm like, good, I still got a bit of pain. All right, we'll take a 40 milligram one in the morning and night. So you're just doing what the doctor says. But if you look at all the statistics now, Oxycontin deaths and that are like cocaine and that would be here. Oxycontin's up way above it. Crazy. Big pharma.
And during the 70s and 80s, I think the guys were doing their cycles like they weren't on the gear year round.
Mm-hmm.
And I find nowadays a lot of bodybuilders, their off cycle is probably more than my on cycle would have ever been. And
Definitely.
I think right now there's a difference between use and abuse. And I think there's a lot of abuse when it comes to steroids.
And what boggles my mind is people don't believe that now. But people don't believe that the pros and like everyone did so little.
And I was off for months. Like if I competed February, March at the Ironman Arnold and San Fred, if my next show wasn't the Olympia, I'd be off for 5-6 months. I wouldn't touch anything. I'd just eat like a pig. But now you have, like you said, with the refeed, now you have bridging and cruising. Someone's cruising cycle, like they do a big cycle. Now we come down and cruise to the next cycle. It's like, no, you come fucking off everything. Come off it all. It's like, I don't get it, how you can stay on it constantly.
I think that's where the problem lies.
When you come off, test the whole thing, but just
I never once did. Because I get emails all the time. What's a good PCT? And like, mate, when I come off, I come off. I never did Clomid. I never did PCT, anything. It's like, if my show was coming up and I'm like, okay, my contest is next week, I stop all my shit now. I just go off it. Don't take anything to kick my test back in. Don't do anything. I just stop it all. I couldn't wait to get off it towards the end because I just hated needles. If I was taking Anadrol, you always get that sickly feeling. It's almost like, like if you've been on gear for like, say you're prepping 16 weeks and I was on gear for 16 weeks, always around the 14, 15 week mark, even though I wasn't taking a lot, you just get that sort of feeling where you don't feel right. You just feel like, you had a bad meal, stomach feels upset. You just feel a bit off somehow. You don't know what it is, but then as soon as I stopped the gear, I felt good again. So
kind of wake up in the morning and you're like, something's just not quite the same.
Yeah.
A little
Yeah.
tiny bit of a gut
Your
rot
body.
type of thing.
Mm.
Yeah, you get that. Yeah. Let's see. So yeah, someone asked about did you guys do refeeds and cheat meals? Pretty much answered that one. What would your being like shorter, like lighter? You guys are not like super heavyweights. So what would your protein intake be through like your contest preps?
I was always 2 to 2.5 grams per pound of body weight. Only because I did so much cardio, 2 to 3 hours a day, and trained twice a day. I just figured I'd take a bit more protein so I wouldn't lose muscle size, and that always worked for me. I know some people say 1 gram's enough for this and that, but I don't know there's ever been. Everyone's different, but I always found around 2 grams per pound of body weight was fine for me. So
That's pretty much where I was, 2.5.
mm-hmm.
And you keep your carbs were low, or carbs were moderate also?
Well,
or?
I can handle carbs, so I always had a lot of carbs. And
I was
then
the same.
closer to a show, I would cut them down.
Right.
Lowest I ever went on carbs was 250 a day. That would probably be the lowest I ever went.
Oh, yeah.
But people
Sounds
are
like
like,
you,
oh,
Josh.
it sounds like me. It sounds amazing, but you're still fucking starving because you burn it through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing too. Like people always look for. Yeah, I'm sure you get questions too. What's the best exercises? What's the best way to do this?
All the time. Yeah.
Look, there is no way. It's all trial and error. Just find what works for you. What works for me might not work for you. So you just got to find. And I always say too, do everything. What's the best? Machines or free weights? Do both. What's the best for legs? Squats or leg press? I don't know. You got to find out what works best for you. Everyone's different. So everyone's always trying to. It's weird because bodybuilders want to get big. They want to be freaky, but yet it seems like they want to do it without doing too much work. It's like I don't want to train for 2 hours. I want to train for 40 minutes.
That's a big.
Then,
I find that's a big difference, like from the bodybuilders of today compared to the bodybuilders of yesteryear. We used to train hard and heavy, and like we give it 100% every workout. I see guys go in the gym that are competing. Man, I train harder when I'm sleeping. These guys are just,
I
That's
train
why I
like
like
2
watching
hours
the
of people.
Masters guys.
And people go, I train for 2 hours, and people go, how do you keep the intensity for 2 hours? I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I'd be training for 2 hours with Tom Platts on legs. Trust me, we didn't let up from the beginning to the end. I said, it can be done. I never overtrained. As long as you're getting your meals in, you're getting your rest. Arnold, when I used to talk to him, they'd train chest in the morning, go to the beach, maybe go back at night, train another big body part, maybe do chest again. Like in the morning, they might have done all their heavy pressing, go back at night, do all their flies and the cable work and stuff like that. But like I said, these guys now want to be the best in the world, but they don't want to put the hard work in. It's like, how can you be the best in the world? And you look at guys back in the day, but yes, there's guys today that are freaks. But you look back to Bird or Fox, Nimrod King even, or any of these guys, Arnold, Sergio, even Serge Nubray, he wasn't freaky, but you look at the quality and the dense muscle they had back then for basic training, basic eating, basic gear, their muscle mass and size and density rivals any of these guys today. So
yeah.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about cardio leading up to a show? Like, how much cardio would you usually do leading up to a show? The last like
I'll
month?
do 2 to 3 hours
Per day.
Mm-hmm.
Per
Only
day.
because I had time to do it. And plus I liked eating, so I figured, why starve myself? Because some people,
Yeah.
I think I'd rather eat more carbs and do more cardio because I like watching movies. And you know, when you get ready for a show, you can't sit still a lot. So you're like,
Yeah,
I can't
true.
sit here and watch a movie, so I put the treadmill in front of the TV rather than sit
Eating
on the
on the
couch
treadmill.
and put 30 minutes on the treadmill. Then I can have a bit more carbs. You know, watch TV again. Or I do another 20 minutes on the bike. So I'd rather do more cardio. Like I said, if you're eating correctly, you're using gear, you're resting, you're not going to go catabolic. It's not like you're starving yourself. So it's like these people be like, Lee, after you work out, how soon do you have a meal? I'm like, sometimes I might have a protein drink. Sometimes I could go an hour or two before I eat. I've never had this anabolic window where my body's just started to eat its fucking self because I didn't have a meal. I like people just take it so fucking crazy.
Yeah.
It's like these guys, I got to have my shot today. today's
People
meal
get
day.
too,
Have it
yeah.
tomorrow. No, I need it today. I don't have it today. It's like,
Yeah.
It's like, I have to have it
They
at
get
8
a little
o'clock.
too into it sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
What about you, Jean? How much cardio did you do?
Honestly, for all of my shows except maybe the last one or two, I didn't even know what cardio was. I never did
Yeah.
any
and that's
zero.
and that's the thing because
That's why I
when
was
I used to
asking,
do cardio,
because I got Josh doing 0 now
Oh yeah.
for
when I used to
nationals
when I used to do
already.
cardio, I used to do cardio at World Gym. And because Arnold was there every day, and Lou Ferrigno, Eddie Giuliani, and all the people from the Pumping Iron movie, they'd even just laugh at me doing cardio because even in Arnold's day, he'd tell me, because in the morning they might train 2.5 hours and they're training hard. Then at night time they're training 2.5 hours. You don't need to do cardio. If you're training that much, you're training, your heart rate's up, your breathing's up. You don't need to do added cardio because your workout in itself is training plus cardio. You know, you're burning calories training like that, so you don't really need it.
Yeah.
100. Yeah. That totally makes sense. Yeah, totally makes sense. That kind of
If you're like
that.
this today, I only train 45 minutes a day. I've done my 45-minute workout. Now I've got 11 hours to sit on the couch and just look at the Instagram. I could even eating clean food, I'd get fat doing that. So it's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I have a question that my son wanted to know. What was your most memorable show for both of you, contest or show? For either one, both. Most memorable show.
82 world championships.
Yeah, why
And
is
you
that?
won that.
I came second.
Okay.
I got lost to Jimmy Gobert.
Yes, sir.
But that was like unexpected for me. So it was probably that in when I won the nationals for the first time. Because the year before I went to the nationals, I came second last, and then the following year I went and I won. So I wasn't expecting
That's
to win, but
huge.
that would be probably the most memorable moments.
and
Cool.
look at you today on a podcast with Lee Priest. Where's fucking Jimmy today, huh? Where's
Yeah, right?
It's like,
yeah,
God knows.
exactly. It's like Jimmy who? I don't know. Sorry.
Jimmy who? Lee, you got one?
I don't. It's hard to say. But maybe it could have been the first show I won when I was 13, just being that young. But then I'd probably have to say doing the couples with my mother, winning the couples with my mother when I was 17, and that because we're the first mother and son to do that in the world. But then, like pro shows and that, I always got more enjoyment when I won my races. But because bodybuilding's so subjective on winnings and that. But I think I enjoyed the '97 Olympia because I left to go to America in '92, '93, and I hadn't seen my mother since then. So she come over in '97 to watch me do the Olympia then. So that was pretty memorable, just having her there. So.
Man, that's amazing. I would give anything to be able to do something like that. That's very lucky to be able to get on stage with a parent. That's so cool.
I'm trying to hold up until my son gets ready to go, but I'm
God.
50 at the end of this week, and
I just hope you're giving your son a golf club, a tennis racket. If he picks up a dumbbell, wake up to yourself, you stupid fucking.
Yeah.
There's no.
Yeah.
we do a little golfing together too.
Now, my son.
Yeah.
He wants to be a bodybuilder, and I'm like, oh God, why can't you just play sports?
Like,
Yeah.
bodybuilding is not a sport.
There's no other sport you like, nothing at all.
Do you have any videos of yourself when you were that young? Like when you're.
Oh yeah. Actually, if you go on, my friend recorded a lot, and I think he downloaded it somewhere, and somebody else downloaded it. But if you go on YouTube and you put in Young Lee Priest, there's tons of videos when I was 15, 13.
I've seen pictures and stuff, but not a lot of video.
Yeah. There's actually videos too online that people have put together. So yeah.
Oh, that must feel weird.
Yeah.
It's like-
Well, like I said, I just hate looking at it because you start thinking back to that time, and it's like, you hear a song or you smell a food and you're like, oh shit, my grandmother used to cook that. Like the memories come flooding back just from a song or a smell. And then if I see something like that, I might have forgot about it, but I could see me at World Gym And then I remember exactly that day, my friend like Joe Gold there and this, but then I'm like, then I get depressed because Joe Gold's died, Eddie's dead. Things I'm like, oh fuck, this is depressing because so many young kids will send me videos. Oh Lee, this video inspires me, so I watch it. There is a young Lee, fucking cool and looking good. I look in the mirror and go, oh fuck, I'm depressed. I'm glad it inspires you. I'm just going to go in the bedroom for a minute.
Like how did you guys deal with retirement, and like how are you still okay? I'm dreading the that moment.
I was forced.
Not that you
I
have,
was pretty much forced.
not now that you have the podcast, Josh. You'll love it.
Why is everybody wanting to retire? What the fuck is that all about? Just keep going. Really?
I still train, but competing, I had to stop that due to the car accident. But I still train and that. So I'm retired from competing, but I don't think I'd ever stop training because I loved training to begin with. I didn't train to become a bodybuilder. I just like training, and then bodybuilding sort of fell into place. So I always feel like I'll keep training no matter what. So,
Tijo?
I think it just happens. I used to think the same way. I remember when Arnold had retired, I was thinking to myself, like, how can you walk away from the sport? But there comes a time when you know it's right to walk away and you feel good about it. Not to say that there's not great memories, or there are times when you second guess yourself, or like Lee said, when you look at pictures when you were young and you look great, now you look at ourselves at our age now, we don't have the same muscle composite, but I mean, that's life, right? You grow older. As long as you don't let it get you down. I like to train. I train 5 days a week. I'm like Lee. I don't give a shit if I compete or not. I just want to go to the gym. I enjoy the gym.
Right.
Yeah, and you're still involved in the bodybuilding world, right? Like Tijon, like you're promoting shows. You're still involved in it. That makes it a lot easier too, right? Like,
yeah, we have 5 shows.
I'm coaching and still in the sport, so it helped with retiring from competing, I found.
Yeah.
And Lee, like, obviously you're still.
And that's why I try and tell these young kids now who've got their pro cards, compete as much as you can. I know a lot of people too, when they'll get in shape, they'll do a contest, they might have got second or third. They're like, I don't want to take any photos because they're that pissed off. If you're in shape, get as many photos as you can, because I'm sure you all know that, you know, we're here now. When we look back from when I started competing at 13, 51 now, it's like a blink of an eye. That whole time's gone so fast. I remember I was driving the other day past the school. I was saying to my friend, fuck, I hated school. Where these kids are right now, I'm like, I couldn't wait to get home. I fucking hated it. But now, as you're an adult, you're like, fuck, school was some of the best times of your life. I wish I could go back to being a kid again.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's like,
absolutely.
I'm like, make the most of your time. If you're competing now, compete as much as you can. If you're healthy, get as many photos as you can and really enjoy it, because you'll be sitting here when you're 51 day going, fuck, that time went so quick. It's like, boom.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
That is. On that note, you guys got anything else? Tijon?
Oh, good. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Cool.
Thanks for coming on.
Just want to say, before we go, we're looking at doing part 3 with Lee probably in a few months from now. And
I'll try and be sensible and answer serious questions.
What? This was the most sensible. This was the most sensible.
Yeah, we love these. We love these ones, anyways. We don't care.
Oh, awesome. So, like I was trying to say, part 3 we're gonna do later on, probably a few months from now. And what we want all the viewers to do is comment below and talk to me, Lee, and one of you guys we're gonna pick to come on to the podcast.
Yeah.
So
pick someone good to come on.
Yeah.
With some good
so
stories.
we're probably gonna have to vet you a little bit to make sure that it will be that you will be suitable and weird enough.
You have someone come on and be like, I'm Lee's ex-girlfriend. I want to come on.
Yeah.
Obviously, we'll bring that person on.
Yeah, obviously.
Or some religious bodybuilder.
Yeah. So again, comment below. Lee, talk to me, and we'll pick one of the comments or one of you guys, and we'll try to maybe do a little bit of a a search, I guess we'll have to make sure you're relatively qualified to come on, but we will do it.
Above the age of 18.
Sensible. Yes, you got to be very sensible like us. We don't want any silly people on here.
No, we don't want that.
No.
We don't want you coming and bringing the show down or anything. This has to be
right.
Fucking, you know.
Awesome, guys. You guys are a blast. We love having you, Lee. Thanks for joining us, T-John.
I enjoy
thanks, Lee.
Thanks, guys.
I enjoy seeing the comments and the people who would like to come on as you vet them to see who can come on.
Yeah, we have to figure out how to do that, but we will.
They'll probably be half scared too.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot, guys. We really appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for coming on, T-John.
Spending some time with us.
Yeah, no problem. No problem.
Thanks, guys.
Loved it. Thanks, Lee.
Are you regretting you come on right now?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
No.
All good.
I like.
He's like, there goes my reputation. There goes the contest. I fucking lost it all.
Believe it or not, Lee, at the gym, I'm just like you are.
That's awesome.
I'm the jokester at the gym.
So my score's not going to drop.
I always say this. As long as you're not being malice, if you're just having fun, making jokes, having fun,
that's right.
You know, enjoy it. I just can't stand the people that are prudes and they get offended about everything. It's like, fuck off. Life ain't that serious. It's like, just enjoy life. Have a laugh, you know?
Absolutely. That's what I do, man.
She's one rip through, boys. Enjoy it.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
I'm just glad that my stage scoring probably won't go down. Thanks. Right? I'm good. My point.
He didn't say that. He didn't say that, Josh.
I was like, you're like, that's the guy with the podcast. We're just gonna
run him through. Fucker.
Yeah. All good.
Put me in that situation. Fuck, he'll hit us all.
Yeah.
Blame me. Everyone else does.
Oh, it was a blast. I had a good time. All good.
Awesome.
That's great. Perfect.
Awesome.
Great, guys. Well, thanks very much, Lee, and thank you guys down there.
Thanks, Lee. Thanks, T-John.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, gentlemen. Thank you,
Now,
gentlemen.
after all this fun, I'm going back to my boring life of doing housework and laundry. And that's, see, a washed up pro retired isn't what it's all cracked up to be, people. Back to the grind.
You're gonna go.